Hello folks, Bulletbrew.com here, Arne Pils at tonight, bringing you some modern action this time around. I was really hoping to playtest Maps and Company deck against the Red Green Eldrazi, both versions, and also Blue White. I did play against them a little bit in real life, but I wanted to show you guys how that matchup plays out and what are the nuances. Couldn't really schedule that, and also now we know that soon, right around the time Shadows over Innistrad will be released, um, something will be done to Eldrazi Menace. And because of that, because of what I heard from Aaron Forsyth at GP Detroit, here I basically transformed the deck back to the build which will reflect a very diverse non-Eldrazi meta game. And today I'm playing against Jeskai Resto-Kiki once again. A bit more tempo-oriented build with less controlish elements. Still not the one I would actually play myself, but it's okay. It's also gonna reflect what could be one of the really decks to go to. Okay, he started with the Fortress, that's the core set plan. Started off with a Razorverge Figure into Birds of Paradise. So yeah, I have like my sideboard configured in such a way that it acknowledges all kinds of decks in the metagame, including Tron Scapeshift and Giants and Grixis. So we basically shifted the deck back to what it used to be. He didn't draw his land number 2, and I basically went wall into Voice of Research, and that's probably way too much for him to keep up. Because there are no Supreme Verdicts main deck, no Detention Spheres. If he paths me, I'm actually happy. So we quickly shuffle up for the game 2. Basically, I managed to slice in a couple of voices because I don't play like Foil Weakness, I play just 2. It's actually not the best cards when the Eldrazi's were around. It might be actually better now, and 3 weaknesses might be the staple and the standard. Never been a fan of triple Spellskite. I think 2 actually is really a lot, and sometimes in certain meta games 1 could be enough. Although then I would probably play a second one sideboard, just to make sure. Okay, Flooded Strands from him in turn 1. A Razorverge Figure into Noble. Pretty decent start as well in this game. He's just gonna get a tapped Shockland at end of turn. Gets a Sacred Foundry, meaning that he probably has a blue source in hand, or let's say another fetch for an island or something like that, or just a basic island. So he's sitting in the ambush with counter spells and such. I go -3 off of that fetch plus untapped Shockland. That's Overgrown Tomb. So I start off with Viserys here, which definitely not a good thing for him to counter with a mana leak right here, because another 2-drop I could have here may be more important. I'm thinking between an offense and Spellskite here, and also a voice, so I have some options here. decided to cast Spellskite, which obviously gets mana leaks. Suppose that's okay. I probably would want a voice to resolve than Spellskite in this matchup. He didn't draw land number 3, so that's unfortunate, but he does have a remand, so that's a thing. I do have a land number 4, and I can actually cast a bunch of things here. The good part about this play, starting off with a voice, is that, yeah, in case he has remand, I can actually recast it. And this is what I do here in attack for 2 with the Seer. He falls down to 17 as well. He does find his land number 3, that's Sulfur Falls. You can see that he does have a path in his hand, and I decide to actually eat it to Spellskite to get a token and scry. Probably not the best play out of him. I'm just curious whether he had really any choice to play around that. He didn't have any burn. I think what he maybe should have done there is to try to path Seer and then Snapcaster path the voice. Something like that. I think that would be a much better play. Okay, I attack with everybody before damage. I use Township to spread the counters. Well, Noble didn't attack, but I got in with some damage. On the other hand, by not having a voice in play, by now he can actually cast instants and flash cards more freely. I don't see his whole hand here. Perhaps it was a correct play at that point. Crack another fetch for plane so that now I can actually attack with everybody and activate Township. This is what I do here. He goes for Snap Flashback Path. In mid-combat phase, somewhere around attackers, decides to actually path a Seer. In response, I eat it with the Seer. I don't get him pathing Noble here. I think he should have pathed the Seer here. That's kind of weird. He's trying to be too cute here. So still activate Township, basically meaning that he can't really trade my Snapcaster for the Seer because Seer would have 2 counters. The token has 2 counters as well, and it's now a 4/4 creature. He attacked with the Snap and then play the tapped manlands, the blue-red one that can switch power and toughness for 0. Then he lightning helix the Seer. I ate it to scry more. The token right now is a 3/3, but he only has a untapped island, which means I'm probably safe to do things. But he's at 4, and then I point out to him that, like, look, I can just activate Township and then that's lethal, and you attack with your Snapcaster for some reason. So he quickly realizes that and scripts it up. He misinterpreted the size of the elemental token. He thought it was a little bit smaller. So bring in decays, bring in sin collectors, bring in paths. They get shifted to sideboard from main deck. Bring in the third voice, bring in Linvala because he's a Resto-Kiki deck. Bring Revoker for the same reason, just to have more answers to his combo. First ender of course against half of his removal and mass removals. Linvala also stops his combo, so I want to bring in a lot of cards. I'm not sure yet about Sin Collectors. Definitely don't want Thoughtseize back into my sideboard. I'm thinking about Dead Hollow Skullus because it might be more relevant now that we know at the beginning of next month we will be saved in terms of the metagame madness. So Scholar might be going back into the sideboard because of Tron coming back and a bunch of other decks where Scholar is actually a good turn to play to slow them down. Is a good play. Take out a chord, take out the walls. I'm not sure about that. Take out one Seer, keep two main deck. Take out Milaris because because Anafansi is much better on her own. Take out at least one company because I bring in some spells, and Linvala can't be hit by company as well. Take out a second chord because I expect a lot of my creatures to actually die, and chord is a liability if you can't flood the board. As you can see, I'm not bringing in my secondary combo because I actually took it out at this stage because a lot of its appeal is actually gone. There will be less relics and rest in peace around, so dodging graveyard hate will be less of a priority when considering sideboarding with this deck. Decided to take out one spell cut, keep one main deck, and take out the Lonely Fin Hunter in the sideboard. Fin Hunter in the main deck, sorry. Because it will die, of course it helps against his combo, but then I'm bringing in cards like Linvala and Revoker, which also help to prevent his combo. And while he's already stacked on removal with the main deck configuration after sideboard, I expect like everything to die or get exiled or countered. So that's the thing. So also no worships in the sideboard. Not the worst cards actually in this matchup because he has the combo. I would probably not bring it in if it would be just mid-range control is Jeskai, which I also expect to rise in popularity after the fixes, after the bans, because the deck is just sweet, and as long as you can come up with a good configuration to not be eaten by rock decks like Chant and Abzan, it's a very solid deck choice and a very tricky deck to play against, especially since a lot of them adopted playing more planeswalkers like Singleton Gideon, the 5-mana one, and then Big Elspeth, the one for 6 mana. He started off with Bloody Dot and Pass, again Razorverse Figure into Bird. So he's gonna crack it up and get a Shockland to Bolt it, which is a good play definitely. In the dark, this is pretty much what you always need to do, especially since I took out the walls, so I don't have that many mana dorks left. Well, I still have 3 more birds and 3 nobles. And I actually think I should have cut 1 noble in there. I think. Because of stuff like anger and is it Staticaster? Temple Garden with pain, casting voice, and it's surprisingly resolved. What is bad about this Jeskai build is that it doesn't have serum visions and walls, which I think should be there. We see an engineered explosive in his hand, but now it's second voice coming, and it resolves, and the turn he cracks a fetch land. My third land is a Gavani Township, which is kinda odd because my hand actually wants all the colored sources. I'm actually not a huge fan of playing triple Gavani in Abzan. It's really tricky. Because of unoffenses and voices, it can really mess you up. So he has a 4th land. He decides not to play explosives right here. So I expect something like a anger coming up. And now, as you can see, another awkward moment, second Gavani Township. I have a Chord of Calling, I think, in my hand, or actually a straight up burn. I think there was just Forge Tender in my hand, exactly, and I decided to cast Linvala instead, which, as you can see, was probably a mistake, but I think in the deck that was the right play. So Anger comes down, he gets rid of 2 voices, I get no tokens because those creatures exiled. Linvala survived because it's a 3/4 body. So now I'm in a very awkward spot. Bashing with Linvala. He's down to 7 already, so that's a positive thing. I cast the kitchen things again. So double Gavani actually prevents me from playing 2 spells per turn, which is really annoying. I had Dauntless Asgard for a while in my sideboard, but now I've put back Forge Tender. Simply because I expect not to see that many Kozilek's returns and not that many verdicts, because I really think that Jant and Grixis will pick up, as well as Jeskai. Not sure what version of Jeskai. So attack with just Linvala. He flashes in Resto to block. Nothing really happens then. I just pass the turn. He's thinking what he can do here. I also did not attack with the things because he had this manlands there. I'm attempting end of turn Chord for 2. He counters that with a Cryptic and draws a card. So now the coast is kind of clear. Decide to cast a second Kitchen Things and just pass. He can actually here end of turn path one of my things. Decides not to for some reason, and I think that was kind of a mistake, unless he had another Anger coming or a Snapcaster, because even with 5 lands his hand is so mana hungry. Okay, yeah, right. There was that Engineered Explosive for free, which is, I think, kinda weird because they will bounce back and he tapped in such a way that leaves him without white because he needed a third color for explosives. Okay, I attack with everybody. I cannot really activate Township yet because I'm just on 4 lands. He blocks the Resto, and now thinks about actually blowing up the explosives. He does that, they come back again for more life, I go up to 26. He's still at 7. Things are now 2-1s. Then I cast Force Tender. So now I'm not afraid of anger or anything similar. He has a path, he has a mana leak in hand. So he does have now land number 6. 5 mana untapped, only 1 white however. He does have the access to that manland as well, which is either 4-1 or 1-4, depending on what you want to do with it. Fifth land would be really amazing here for me to be able to activate Township. Instead to cast a bird so that next turn I have access to that plan to reset my kitchen things. Land number 7 for him, that's another blue-red manland. This Starcaster would be pretty annoying here. Because that will force me to sacrifice Burnt on First Ender now. And something like a Path on First Ender plus Datacaster would really ruin my day here. Luckily he doesn't have it. However, he does have Snapcaster in hand to flashback that anger, which is actually gonna be switched off by Force Tender again. Right. Okay, end of turn I use the Township, spread the counters. He allows that to happen. This is a very tricky game. Very tricky game. Okay, he can go past Snapcaster path. I'm casting Sin Collector instead of using Township just to see what's up. He goes for Cryptic to counter that and do something else. So he's deciding. Yeah, like that. So he's attempting to point at Force Sender to bounce it. That's interesting. Well, Sin Collector gets countered. So it feels like he must have a counterspell here, because if I just replay Forge Tender, whatever thing he had in mind will not work. And this is why having double Forge Tender in the sideboard after the upcoming bans would actually not be a bad idea. Because if he decides to go for Snapcaster Anger, then I can just Chord of Calling it at instant speed. Yes, he could have a counter for that if he doesn't play anything else that turn. Well, actually, yeah. Chord Calling for instant blurt on First Ender would actually do something, because this one get countered through mana leak. But if I would have a Chord in hand and a second blurt on First Ender in the deck, it might be out like basically in the sideboard, and then I bring it in, then he would have to have another counter spell right here. So there is a chance that double first tender could be a good thing. So yeah, we're switching the phones here because mine has died and the plugin was actually too far away. I mean the sockets or the outlets. So we took his phone. So Path goes into the Linvala. He blocks kitchen things. It's gonna bounce back though, so it's not that kind of a tragedy. Okay. Alright, this is still my turn, so it's still not the turn where he angers. And I think I got a decent trade out of it, because I expect anger to come down, and at least I dealt like 3 damage, so at least I get some value. Okay, everything dies except his Rest Angel. Smashes in for 3 damage, that's fine. I'm still at 25, but he's at 4, so all I need is just more pressure. More stuff to threaten him with. So that he would need to extend his resources to stay alive. But the door is kind of closing. He still has a couple of cards in hand. Can't quite see what they are just yet. I think it's another path and some blue card. Casting a Seer first, that resolves. And I pass the turn. Not sure what I had in my hand. Maybe something like a collected company. Okay, I see a path in my hand at least. Okay, he tries to go for the combo. So plays out a Kiki. You do have a path, but you see that he has a Mana Lake in hand, for which I can pay. So there is that. So there is that. Again, he miscalculated my mana. So we rewind a bit. So I let him not cast that Mana Lake, but Kiki is already in play. And I cast Path with Kiki on the stack. I think it's much safer this way, because if I do it once it lands and then he targets Resto, there will be, there won't be a copy because there will be no legal targets, right? So yeah, it doesn't really matter that much. But he could just pass the turn there. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. Okay, clean up my deck a little bit. I'm still at relatively high total. What's that? 3 mana. Okay, Witness. I'm not sure I tapped. Could I? No, I couldn't tap Batter because of double Township in there. Think Witness brought back Chord, because I didn't cast a company this game at all. Okay, now the resto. Off the top. Pretty good reap, I must say. I show him a path and double decays, which I'm not sure why I brought in. They would be much better if he would actually side in the hate, which turned out to be in the post, so there is that. Brought in decays for really no great use, so no rest in peace, and yeah, there is explosives, which is annoying, but when it's in play, it's already too late. And no walls, so pretty sad for me. And I didn't see a Staticaster either, and no detention sphere, so very good decays, very good, very efficient. Okay, one more game. One more game. As you can see, my draws were not spectacular. Well, his were pretty average as well. But yeah, double Gavany really messed everything up for me. And if I would play free copies main deck, then this kind of scenarios would actually be more likely and will occur more often. I think now I took out DKs for something else. Don't remember exactly what. Maybe like a Fin Hunter plus another chord. Yeah, I think that's what I did. Just more answers to his stuff, to his combo, and put back third chord to have more ways to actually find it. I really do like the access to 3 copies of voices in my 75. One of the best cards if you expect to see resurgence of giants. Grixis and Jeskai. Jeskai has path and Abzan also has path, so it's not that amazing against them. Though I still do like voices against Abzan mid-range. I do like Revelark as a card, and I do think sometimes it belongs to this deck, but I'm not sure how much I would want such a thing. Basically, if I would see a lot of Jeskai and Grixis decks, so a bunch of heavy removal decks, then I might actually bring it back into the sideboard. Again, I'm lucky enough to start with a bird turn 1, and I'm on the play here. He just lays down that blue manland and passes. Razor vs Thicket, Berserker off a bird, and the voice looking good. He would really need an Anger of the Gods off the top for turn 3. Seems like he doesn't have any good two drops to play. No mana lake. Tapped Shrine and the Kitchen Fangs, which probably resolved. Moving quickly because I fear that this game is not gonna be particularly close. So I attacked with the Seer plus the voice. He's at 17 by now. I see a dispel in his hand. It's alright. Just don't overextend on those dispels. 1 is definitely fine. 2 is maybe okay-ish. 3 would definitely be insane to side in. So I'm trying to remember how I was tapped. It's weird, like what I'm doing right here. End of turn, eating thanks to Scry. I wonder why would I do that? I think I had a second piece in my hand, and I was hoping to draw into a third combo piece while he was tapped out. Plus I had Township, which I would be able to activate here. This is weird. Why would I attack with a things here? Okay, like he would block. I would use Township. I would reset it, then it sets back again, and then it's vulnerable to all sorts of things. I suppose I can't protect it from anger, and I still have an active voice, so perhaps it's okay. I just don't like this attack. That was probably a mistake for me. Okay, now we see a Staticaster in his hand, and he decided not to play it out here. So probably fearing a combo at instant speed off a company or a chord to complete the puzzle. Fetch in here with the Marsh Flats. Going down 3 life in total because I want a Shockland here. I'm at a very high life total, so that's not a problem. We got a Temple Garden. I wonder what are my next thoughts. I'm going to combat with everybody. So he allows that even though he has a Cryptic in hand. He's calculating the total possible amount of damage. Perhaps considering to take it all in. I use up Township, so that resolved. Strangely. I think in response he could have, I don't know, played a Staticaster to kill the things, but I have a voice in place, so that will give me an elemental token. I don't know if that's a good idea. Of course, like he can bounce that token end of turn with wow, I know. Would it be? Yeah, it would be countered. Yeah. He would not draw a card because if I just okay, trigger on the stack from the voice to get a token, then sacrifice it. So yeah, I should have double tokens here because it will trigger upon like the casting, and then I would just eat it and actually fizzle the Cryptic command. Didn't quite see whether he drew a card for Cryptic or not, because it would have only one target and that target won't be there. So if he did draw, he shouldn't have. That was probably me overlooking this whole thing. And I should have double token here, I see. Because cast plus eating it. Attempting a a voice here, another one. That's gets countered by another cryptic plus a bounce on the token, of which I should have actually had two, and then I think it may have been a lethal attack, unless he has a path in hand here. Well, I'm gonna attack here anyway with the team to actually put him almost at lethal. He goes down to 1, so yeah, he would have been dead if I would be a little bit more careful here. Cast a Force Sender so that I'm protected against an Anger of the Gods. Okay, you see the writing on the wall. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe, check out the links in the description below. And I'll see you guys next time. Until the next sale. Goodbye. Poet Brew signing off.